If you just now tuning in, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and hit the bell. GMS fam, the green room. Oh, we definitely got to talk about this. Hey, yo, GMS fam, the green room. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. Usually, we usually do the 3Gs, but, everybody have family things going on. And, given certain circumstances, I wanted to go live for a little bit just to talk about this situation so I won't have to do it on Monday. Leave this shit in the past where it's supposed to be. We started every show with peace, love, positive energy, good vibes, passing it forward, hoping that you pass it along as well. Shout out to my GMS family in the building. I see y'all. What's up, Taj? What's up, Leandris? What up, Ronnie Forrest? Arius, Baby G, Glittery Bubbles, Lo Jones, 313 Capo, Toke Champs. What's going on, y'all, man? What's going on? Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you share the live. Make sure you let people know where to pull up to just for a little bit, man. Just for a little bit. Can I have y'all attention just for a little bit? Now, holy smokes. Tory Lanez has been found guilty on all 3 counts in the case of shooting Meg Thee Stallion with an just utterly shit. It was a complete shit show of a trial, court hearings, just a bunch of things going on, man. And I just want to talk about this, hopefully for the last time, so that we can move forward. Now, Tory Lanez being found guilty on all 3 charges comes as a surprise because I didn't think that the jury was convinced enough to take that stance into just, calling him guilty altogether because of, the testimonies and just the conflicting stories, and even just Kelsey alone, how odd and how weird it was for her to say what she said on the stand. You would have thought that this was leaning more to a mistrial, not even just him being innocent, but like a mistrial or something. But I guess the holidays are coming. Christmas is right around the corner. The jury said, we need to come to a decision today. I want to go home. I'm tired of this shit. And they found him guilty on all 3 counts. Now, do I think there's going to be some type of appeal or some type of way for them to fight this, to continue to fight it? Yes, I think that's going to happen. But until then, we can only see what's in store for Mr. Daystar Peterson. Now, they're talking about possibly deporting him, because if you don't know, he is a Canada native and he is not of this country. So they are going to possibly deport that man back to where he came from, as well as some other things. Now, just to give you a little insight of what happened in the courtroom when it happened. Now, this lady in particular, Megan Cuniff, has been reporting on this situation ever since it started, as well as many others. And one thing that she said when this all started, well, first and foremost, the first tweet that she put out was, a jury has convicted Tory Lanez of all 3 charges for the 2020 shooting of Meg Thee Stallion, a crazy and downright scary scene in the courtroom as his father and stepmother screamed about wicked injustice. Tory Lanez's father stood up and screamed, "This is a wicked system." He screamed at the prosecutors that they are evil and they know exactly what they did here. His stepmother stood up screaming and yelling. Father was yelling about Rock Nation. Now, that's something we're going to get into in a minute, because since this started, a lot of people have been talking about Rock Nation being a solid influence in how this trial may or may not go, and just over the simple fact that their help has pushed this and pushed the narrative, so to speak, of everything surrounding this situation. Megan also said Tory Lanez was remanded on the spot, let out in handcuffs by sheriff's deputies. There were 6 total in the courtroom, 2 at the door and 4 behind Lanez, and there was quite a scene when they tried to get Lanez's father and stepmother under control. One woman in the gallery held up her hand as Tory's father was screaming about Rock Nation and wicked injustice, repeating in the same Jesus. In the name of Jesus, that's what she was repeating behind his dad. Deputies were forcing them all out into the hallway and telling the gallery we had to stay seated. One woman turned and looked at the reporters sitting behind her, including me, and said, "Jay-Z is a bitch. Report that. Jay-Z is a bitch." Right now, reporters are in the media area on the 12th floor hoping to get comment from someone. Now, they did end up getting comment from someone, and that one person was Tory Lanez's dad. Talk about a spitting image. Listen to what his dad had to say after he walked out the courtroom when his son was found guilty and is facing up to 23 years in prison for the shooting of Meg Thee Stallion. Listen to this.
It's not over. God does not lose. Never. And even though we've come to this juncture, trust me, you will see that our God does not fail.
This is not the
I
first
know
time
that this is wickedness.
Now, lean on who you want to lean on. But at the end of the day, people make their own decisions and own choices, and they have to reap they have to have repercussions behind every action that they make, whether it be good or bad. And in this situation, whether Tory Lanez actually shot Meg Thee Stallion or not, him putting himself in that situation is ultimately what got him here today. And there's a bigger thing in that I'm gonna talk about in a second. But Glittery asked, where did Jay-Z come from? Now, apparently the story is Jay-Z wanted to sign Tory Lanez, which actually I guess is a true statement. I guess it's a true thing. It's factual. Jay-Z was gonna try to sign Tory Lanez. That didn't happen. I don't know why. I don't know if it was a back and forth or something that made them feel some type of way. But at the end of the day, Jay-Z runs Rock Nation. Meg Thee Stallion's on Rock Nation. They, there's quite a few people that feel like Rock Nation has had a very big influence on public opinion and also this trial. One thing is for sure in this case, Meg was shot, whether it be a bullet fragment or the bullet itself hitting her foot. She was shot. But here's the thing, man. When it comes to this situation, all variables have to be considered. Everything that happened has to be considered. Making up a scenario in your mind isn't justice. And the argument now, after hearing the verdict, is about everything that took place and why certain things happened the way that it did. And no matter whose story was different, whose story was out of pocket or seemed like it wasn't the truth, we can all agree on what was factual and said by multiple parties. There was a shooting, there was a fight that happened, and that man was smashing both of them. Now, some people may ask, because, you know, they tried to use the excuse, well, what is her, if Megan smashed the whole industry, that don't mean shit. Of course, it doesn't mean shit if somebody actually just shot her for no reason. If Tory Lanez just got up that day and said, you know what, I'm going to shoot Meg Thee Stallion for no absolute reason. Now, there's never a reason to just shoot a woman if your life isn't put in danger. If you are a man and there's a woman in front of you, regardless of what she's saying, there's no reason to shoot her for whatever it is she's saying. Now, if she tries to kill you or tries to put you in harm's way, then whatever you have with you, you can, whatever it is, defend yourself. But every time I hear this story, I hear the stories of Meg and Kelsey fighting, and somehow, some way, Tory became the one to shoot, not the person that was involved in the fight or feeling betrayed. And that's one thing I'm going to stand by in this entire instance. To me, I've said it since day one. It didn't matter to me whether Tory Lanez was found innocent or guilty. I'm the type of person that looks at things for what they are. And if the story surrounding this is that Tory Lanez was sleeping with both individuals, and one of those individuals found out in a drunk night out, and not just found out about Tory fucking on another girl, but just so happened to be the girl's best friend, who do you think has more motive to shoot Meg Thee Stallion? I don't think her just saying, and trust me, I've said this before, especially after the August Alsina stuff with him and Tory Lanez. Tory clearly has a short man complex. He has that short man complex to where he definitely, to me, seems like a person that needs to try to prove himself because of his stature. That's just not a myth, or that's just not something that people just joke about, just a joke because he's short. You can tell by how he moves. But do I think Tory's the type of person to be like, somebody said his music's trash and he shot him? Well, Tory Lanez has been an artist for a very long time. And I'm pretty sure Tory has heard, whether it be from a regular passerby fan on the internet or wherever, that somebody didn't like his music, or they thought it was trash. Nobody has ended up dead yet or shot by Tory Lanez because of their opinion about his music. And I wasn't in the courtroom, but just hearing the transcripts and people repeating the things that were said, that was one of the things they brought up, which is crazy because in the same instance, people talking about how it's unfair to use Meg sleeping with X, Y, and Z as a way for this to be the reason why all of this sparked, will be the same way you could say that Meg saying that Tory's music was trash is not a valid reason or enough reason for him to shoot her. To me, it seems like a fight was trying to be broken up, and the person that tried to break it up ended up being the one to take the blame for it all. That's what I wholeheartedly believe happened. I believe all three of them were drunk as hell. An argument and a fight happened A gun was pulled, somebody shot, another person was like, hold up, tried to fight for the gun, more shots rang out, and that's how it happened. Like, think about it. I mean, let's actually think about a factual part in this, right? We're talking about Meg getting shot in the foot. To me, that seems like somebody getting shot in a struggle while somebody accidentally shot a round off. Because if somebody pointed and shot at this woman, right? And they're saying that there was 5 shots that rang out, and apparently this nigga was over the car shooting at her, but the only bullet to hit her was one that got ricocheted in the foot. I'm sorry, Tory Lanez is he's a small guy, but I'm pretty sure that he can still aim higher than a foot. I'm pretty sure he can aim higher than a foot. Meg was supposed to be shot somewhere else if somebody was intentionally trying to shoot her, is what I'm saying. But nonetheless, like I said a little bit ago, actions will have reactions. And regardless if that man intentionally shot her or not, just being in that situation is what landed him here now. And I can't feel bad about it. What could I feel bad about? This was this man's decision. He did that. Now, he is currently booked. You can see it here. Tory Lanez's legal name, Daystar Peterson, is now listed as an inmate in the Los Angeles County jail system. He was handcuffed in the courtroom after the jury verdict was read and led away by deputies, guilty on all 3 charges for the 2020 shooting of Meg Thee Stallion. There was also something else that they posted. I got to go back to her page. Excuse me while I light my spliff. Okay, here we go. LA District Attorney's Office press release on Tory Lanez's guilty verdict. This is what I wanted to read to you because this was very strategic, in my opinion. Very strategic. Daystar Peterson, a.k.a. Tory Lanez, convicted in shooting. Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon. I think that's how you say it. I think it's Spanish. Gascon. Announced that Daystar Peterson, the rap artist known as Tory Lanez, was convicted of assault today in the 2020 shooting and wounding of former female friend Megan Pete in the Hollywood Hills. The quote says, "I want to start by highlighting the bravery of Megan Pete." District Attorney said, "You showed incredible courage and vulnerability with our testimony despite repeated and grotesque attacks that you did not deserve. You faced unjust and despicable scrutiny that no woman should ever face, and you have been an inspiration to others across LA County and the nation. Women, especially black women, are afraid to report crimes like assault and sexual violence because they are too often not believed. This trial for the second time this month highlighted the numerous ways that our society must do better for women. I'd also like to thank the jurors for their time and thoughtful deliberation and our trial team for their tireless pursuit of the truth. You spent countless hours away from your families during the holiday season preparing this case and finding justice for Miss Pete. Your sacrifice is appreciated." After 7 hours of deliberation, jurors found Peterson guilty of 1 count of assault with an automatic firearm and found true the allegations that he caused great bodily injury and used a firearm. He also was convicted of 1 count of carrying an unregistered loaded firearm in a vehicle and 1 count of discharge of a firearm with gross negligence. Peterson was immediately taken into custody after the verdict. A sentencing hearing in case Babu was set for January 27th. Peterson faces a maximum sentence of 22 years and 8 months. Jurors were presented evidence showing that on July 12, 2020, Peterson and the victim were riding in an SUV in the Hollywood Hills. The victim got out of the vehicle and Peterson shot several times at the victim's feet and wounded her. The case was investigated by the Los Angeles Police Department. That is the statement from the District Attorney George Gascon. Yeah. Protect black women. Here's the bigger conversation in this, man. Bigger conversation in this. It's bigger than Tory Lanez. It's bigger than Meg Thee Stallion. It's bigger than their situation. Because two things can be true at the same time. Protect black women. Uphold black women. Make sure that there's a safe space for black women to talk about the things that they've gone through, and also be able to report on recent things that may be happening to them so that they won't go through traumatic instances and all this other shit that we obviously care about. What also can be true is that this is an isolated instance, and that all parties can be wrong in this situation regardless of the severity of who did what. That can be very, very true. And using the narrative of protecting black women and making sure and talking about the fact that, you know, black women are the most targeted and the most hated and everything, all the above, all which are facts. To use those to convict somebody in the court of public opinion, I can't agree with that. I can't agree with that. And that has nothing to do with how I feel about the verdict. Like I said, the verdict is the verdict. They did what they wanted to do. I feel no type of way about it because I was not invested in it. I saw people all on the internet so invested in this shit, so incredibly invested that they were so sure about what the verdict would be without really sitting back and listening to the trial, listening to everything that's happening. Now, there were a few people came after this happened because, you know, people wanted the verdict to come back a certain way, and they couldn't wait till they saw a guilty verdict to make sure they went after specific individuals, you know, like the No Jumpers, the Say Cheeses, the Shade Room, or you know, whatever the public platforms are, you know, the academics, you know, and the girl that he's been talking to who was, you know, at the trial when it was going on and taking notes and giving people transcripts of what was happening. I want y'all to hear a little bit of the back and forth between academics who brought on Hassan Abi and Myron from Fresh and Fit to pretty much argue about the semantics and the facts behind this case. Listen,
general, one, not giving a fuck about black people in general, and two, also on top of that, notoriously being bad at dealing with domestic abuse cases.
And by the way, like, you've definitely...
But I have no idea what the fuck the Zeus... I mean, I don't know what the fuck the Zeus network is, or the blogosphere that you're talking about.
All right, hold on.
All I know is that for
what about
most
Johnny
normies,
Depp? What about
like,
Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? What about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard?
I mean, that was litigated and Johnny Depp won the court case. What do you mean?
But what about until he won it? That's the only thing. In hip-hop, Tory Lanez was a black sheep. Listen, I'm telling you now, I have no problem if people want to just completely boycott him. It has been litigated in a court of law, and a jury has made their decision. What I'm saying is that allegations, and I'm still trying to ask you the question: if a situation between a man and a woman, doesn't matter which man and which woman, happens, right? We obviously know certain things are very sensitive matters because we obviously got to protect our women. But if there's an allegation that a man completely and vehemently denies, and now he's being accused of some shit, and he's a public figure, she might be a public figure too, what do you think the appropriate course of action is for all the entities?
I have a question for you. Yeah. What would it have taken for you to say Tory Lanez conclusively shot Meg Thee Stallion? Because, like, as far as, like, shooting cases goes, as far as, like, when
you're not
there's
answering
a
my
victim
question, Hassan,
that was there, that survived the attack,
academics talking,
and then
to
there
Hassan.
is a perpetrator that two of the, you know, involved parties said was responsible for the shooting. when that's pretty open and shut.
Hassan, this is why you're good. You're not answering the question.
I'm not exactly a big fan of the criminal justice
Hold
system.
on.
Especially
You're not
as it
answering the
pertains
question. I'm talking
dealing
about
with black people. But having said that,
Hassan,
what would it have taken for you?
Hassan, you're not answering my questions, and this is why you're so good at what you do, right?
Because I'm talking about unrelated things about like you're turning this into a man and woman thing when it's not a man and woman thing because there is a responsible party and we're not looking at the facts of this individual court case.
Wait. How could I have? Wait, I wasn't there. How the fuck could I have known? How could I have known? He said I didn't shoot the gun. Hey, there's other people.
But you look at the.
How could you have known? You tell me.
You look at the additional evidence. You look at the witness testimony at the time. You look at the events that transpired at the time.
Wait. Let me interject.
And like thinking about the consequences.
Hassan, let me interject. That's why everybody was upset because at that point in time, everybody wanted it to just read that, yo, this guy did it. There's nothing else. Then you could go back to it. Go on TMZ, type, hey, the GSR report says there was gunpowder residue found on both Tory and the girl. Then
I agree. I know. I'm familiar. Yes.
Go
GSR
back.
Residue also.
Okay. Wait. Hold on. I'm not done. Go back and then say there was an independent witness that said they seen a muzzle flash in front of a woman. Granted, if you see both things, keep in mind we're not at the point of litigating at that point. Are you still just gonna be going with this woke agenda that these dudes? It seems like you're just kind of like
agenda when,
but that's like a woke agenda. He got a penis, he must have did it. He got a dick, he must have did it. Because right now, I'm telling you what.
That's not. No. You're trying to put me in a box here, and I disagree with that. I think that if roles were reversed, and Meg Thee Stallion had shot Tory Lanez in the foot, and Tory Lanez is a tiny little guy, so and Meg Thee Stallion overpowered Tory Lanez, shot him in the foot. And he, as the victim in that circumstance, turned around and said, Meg Thee Stallion shot me, okay? And the third party involved also said that originally when it first came out, because that was the actual information that we had before a third party witness that was unrelated and uninvolved in the situation decided to give inconclusive testimony. I would have said the exact same things that I'm saying now. I would have said, it seems to me like Tory Lanez was shot in the foot by Meg Thee Stallion. But that's not what happened. What happened is the exact opposite of that.
Hey,
like this is not a man versus woman thing, no matter how hard we try to massage it.
It is. It most definitely is a man versus woman thing. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, and here's the funny part about social media. This is why I can't stress it enough that you see what they want you to see on the internet at all times. Let me tell you something. The entire trial, click on a Tory Lanez hashtag or Meg Thee Stallion hashtag or even Kelsey Harris hashtag. You will get the same tweets, the same viral tweets with the same tens of thousands of likes and retweets without seeing the actual updates unless you specifically look for the updates in those hashtags, right? So during Kelsey's testimony, during everything that was looking weird, the only way you can find the things that looked awkward or looked like this could have been a different situation, you had to go to an academics page. You had to look at somebody who was updating everything that was going on in the trial and not just one side of what was happening on the trial. But then as soon as Tory Lanez was found guilty, you click the Tory Lanez hashtag and it's all new tweets and updates on the trial. Funny how the internet works. It's crazy, right? Now, it may not seem like a big deal to anybody who doesn't understand how the internet works, but when you talk about swaying public opinion, the internet does a great job of doing so. You want to know why? Because when there's a narrative to push, they make sure that motherfucker gets out there. What up, Will? Yeah, you didn't get the notification because YouTube keeps me in the shadow realms, you know. You gotta like be on YouTube to see that I'm live for them to be like, oh, you know, they don't like to send my videos out. They don't like to send my lives out, especially when I'm not monetized. They try to suppress the hell out of the GMS show. But, you know, I don't do this for the reasons that people may think. This is different for me. Now, listen a little bit more to this back and forth.
I look at the facts of a situation. Obviously, there are, you know, systemic forms of discrimination in every instance. It's like unavoidable. It's impossible to escape. But in this circumstance, I'm looking at the evidence, and it seems like the victim's testimony was corroborated by the other witness and also victim.
Hassan, you are like you gotta be virtue signaling to the highest, my guy. And
what do you mean? I feel like a woman got shot in the fucking foot, and she said, "This dude shot me," and that's virtue signaling.
Brother, all right, hold on. I'm gonna tell you why it's virtue signaling, because let's go with
crazy, bro.
Let's go with one of the biggest themes that people always bring up. Yo, okay, believe women, especially black women, and I agree with that. We believe women and black women, right?
I mean, it doesn't seem like you agree with that much. No,
okay,
at least right now.
No, I do. Hold on, no, I do. Okay, but here's the thing. So if I'm believing Meg Thee Stallion, she first told me, I stepped on glass. Oh, I believe you. You stepped on glass. Then she says, no, I didn't. I got injured.
Your mods banned me from the chat.
Wait, did they?
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I know you hate this guy, but yo, could we bring my man Myron in? He's been following this case with me the whole time. And he's been very in tune with all the
sure. If you wanna bring him in, we can have that conversation with him as well.
Wait, how do I don't know how to add people, brother.
Now Myron is a host on Fresh and Fit.
Okay.
Myron also used to be a federale.
So if you need backup, I thought we were
this.
having a normal conversation.
No, because we're going over facts and also narrative. You know what I mean?
Now you're bringing a Fed involved. Goddamn, dude.
Yo, Hassan, I ain't gonna lie. Yo,
is he not a Fed? I thought he was, but
Hassan, you know you virtual signaling crazy. Yo, I'm with you on this.
Bro,
yo,
Hassan. That's an exit ramp for you.
No,
to say virtue signaling. It's just like,
Hassan.
Like, no, I'm just looking at the situation.
Yo,
like,
this would be a crazy conversation.
They said
this would be a
someone
crazy.
Got shot. They said this person shot me. I'm like, okay, it seems like that could be true.
This would be a crazy conversation, right? Hold on. Oh, this is how I do it. All right, I gotta call them both in here. Let me see. I don't even know if Myron's on. I'm using this phone call.
Him and Myron got into it.
Fuse didn't actually intend to fucking shoot Meg Thee Stallion. Accidentally did. You know, little guy, big gun for him at least. You know, hard to fucking control.
Hassan,
and he's drunk.
You really think that he's shooting her over a disc?
So then, what is your take? Like, do you think there's a third shooter? Are we talking like JFK Grassy Knoll situation? Like, what the fuck happened then? Was it Kelsey who shot Megan Thee Stallion? Is that what you think?
Hey, this is why I went into the whole thing by saying, are we here to find out? I said we won't find out who actually did it. Right? We're only gonna find out if this is enough to convict.
Come on, you are.
Okay, all right. So I'll tell you my narrative. You want to hear my narrative? I'll tell you my narrative. My narrative is this. Okay, they're at this party with Kylie. At the party, I believe that Meg, who was messing around with Tory behind her best friend's back, because the first person, and by the way, it does matter. I'm not trying to slut shame her, but it does matter who was having sex with who. Tory was having sex earlier in the year with Kelsey. She catches COVID. She goes back home. He starts messing around with Meg. Kelsey comes back into the picture, and at one of the most and first public events they're at together, they're at Kylie's house. Okay? They were drinking before Tory gets there. Tory gets there. He's trying to game up Kylie. Meg feels a little bit type of way because, number one, that's disrespectful. I invited you to somewhere, and now you're trying to kick me to somewhere.
By the way, we're still not at the events that took place.
Hold on.
Okay, but you're building backstory. Fine.
You have to build
it's not like victim blaming or slut shaming.
Wait.
It's just,
you have to
important.
Hold on. You have to build it, because if you think that somebody, if I diss you as a streamer, would you shoot me, brother? If I say you're the worst streamer on the platform, would you shoot me?
No, of course not, but I'm not Tory Lanez, you know what I mean?
Oh my! Also, Tory is just like this degenerate guy who's not like
a multi-millionaire. I think that he. I think that he is not necessarily degenerate, but he definitely does have a, like I said, short fuse. Very insecure, short fuse, drunk, has a gun around. That's what
he has a short fuse.
Short fuse and shooting a woman.
To less famous people.
Okay, no, hold on.
It's not
short fuse and shooting a woman is like, come on, bro. Are we gonna act like there's no levels of separation, dog? Come on.
I mean, I know, but like then we come to the other side of the altercation where you are easily believing without any evidence whatsoever. Not a single person has said that this is the case.
What?
Okay. You believe that Kelsey has a short enough fuse to fucking shoot Megan Thee Stallion, but Tory Lanez doesn't. So that's why I'm like a little confused about where you are trying to go with this conversation.
All right, so
unless there was a third shooter with a sniper rifle.
Let me get there. Let me get there.
It's either Kelsey who shot Megan or Tory.
No, let me get there then. You see, in your story, hey, you suck at music. Boom, 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 boom. I say complete cap. I'm getting to it. I'm gonna speed up the story. So there's a bunch of jealousy going on. The women are arguing, but they're also arguing with Tory, which also is in line with what pretty much Meg even said on that Gayle King interview. All three of them are arguing. Kylie kicks them out. You have all three women or you have two women and Tory arguing, okay? And then I gotta use Sean Kelly's testimony. The car pulls over and Meg hops out and starts to assault Kelsey. Sean Kelly said it. She was kicking her for several
Sean
minutes.
Kelly, who was sleeping at this point.
Okay,
right?
but listen, we're just gonna throw out his testimony because he doesn't agree, or because he has?
No, but I would be a little, I would be a little questioning it a little bit, right? Like a little bit of skepticism is necessary here because, like, why the fuck was he up watching the street randomly in the middle of the night?
You know what is a skeptical story? I would believe a person that had just woke up to look at what he's seeing in the street more than a drunk motherfucker's account of a story. And not just drunk, but like belligerent drunk, which is what everybody described in this situation. The one person who I wish could have came and gave testimony just on the behavior of everybody around, because I think that's very important. I think it's important to understand the behavior of those that were there at the time. The one person that should have been there to testify was Kylie Jenner. Somehow, some way, she escaped this whole trial besides just having her name brought up. But like, a lot of this could be telling to the situation and what and how it transpired. If you can tell me how people were acting, what were their character, what were their mannerisms, how were they acting around each other. When you told them that they had to go, why did you tell them they had to go? Was it because they were acting too belligerent? Were they acting too wild? Were they doing too much? What was it? But why the fuck was Kylie Jenner not in that courtroom? That family is too big. They're too big for their own good.
Even if we don't agree with that, that's such a massive inconsistency.
Even if we don't agree with that,
common sense probably favors one side that he did wake up to gunshots, which was his original testimony.
You're trying to like pigeonhole it on him. There was an altercation. Even if you didn't believe that he saw it, okay. So are you gonna then say that the hair missing, the pendant, the ring or the nail broken from Kelsey was not due to any type of assault? Kelsey said,
I do think Kelsey got assaulted. I think Tory Lanez and Kelsey had a scuffle afterwards. That was the other piece of the evidence.
She said it didn't happen. She said he never put her hands on me.
You're saying,
by the way,
Kelsey said Tory Lanez never put hands on Kelsey. Is that what you said?
Yes. And by the way, if she had said that, any respectable district attorney, if you were told by a woman that Tory, before going into a complete like school shooter rage, beat the brakes off you, they would have charged him for an additional count of assault. He's not charged for that. So
hold on. Well, I mean, the case was about Tory Lanez using a gun on Megan Thee Stallion.
Any crime he committed that night
came from? Where do you think that suggestion came from then?
What do you mean?
Like, where did?
I'll tell you where.
Where did Tory Lanez and Kelsey fighting? Like, what do you think happened there?
Meg Thee Stallion says she's seen a bump, and then in the opening statements, which supposedly I guess Kelsey was supposed to attest to, when Tory let off the shots and was approaching Meg, Kelsey intercepted, and then supposedly Tory, he beat down Kelsey on his way to Meg, which Kelsey said that never happened.
So why do you think Tory Lanez? So why did Tory Lanez apologize to Kelsey then?
I'll tell you why. You want me to tell you why?
Yeah, I would love to hear your
perspective on that. This is only a theory. Clearly, this is.
No, I mean,
we're talking.
I want to hear your theory.
Yeah, we're talking narrative.
I do.
Okay, I would believe. Hey, if you've been fucking both of the girls, and then you started to try to fuck another girl, or you were trying to kick game to another girl in front of both of them, they're starting to fight because of it. The fight is escalating, and apparently you throw it in both of their faces that you're having sex with them. Yes, they throw you under the bus and say, hey, you're a shit musician, blah, blah, blah. But if you didn't make it a scene among these two friends that now they're fighting themselves and even trying to fight you, that seems like...
Dude laughed at that.
He seems like a good guy. He seems like a really good guy. He just, had both of these women's best interests at heart.
I'm not standing up for his character. I'm just saying, as a man, if you were...
It's crazy because, like, one person shot Megan Thee Stallion, right? Like, so he's apologizing to the person who shot Megan Thee Stallion? Because that's fucking wild if he's both apologizing to Megan Thee Stallion and also apologizing to the woman who shot Megan Thee Stallion, being like, I'm so sorry that, like, things got out of hand and you shot Megan Thee Stallion.
I'm sorry that
if that's believable to you, then I don't know what to...
Hold on, dog. So how is that not believable? That a person who may have intentionally caused a fight between these two women by revealing some shit, why wouldn't he be apologizing? Why wouldn't he apologize? That's a good, see, this is the funny part. I'm over here agreeing with Ack right now, and it's because that's the only logical thing to think about in this situation. Because we hear these things about this situation and then just think that it's some way, shape, like just at some point, Tory decided to snap and shoot Meg. Like, there's nothing credible enough to validate why he would do that. There would have to be a reason why he would shoot her, opposed to just putting hands on her at the least. What actually made him shoot? Was that ever brought? Like, was that ever? How did that get? Like, how do you convince yourself as a juror that a comment about a person's music, especially somebody at the time, and then I guess they said during the trial, the prosecution brought up the fact that Meg was a bigger artist than Tory at the time. Like, so fucking what? They acted like Tory was just some random local artist or some shit. Everybody knew who both of them were. And both of them were top artists at the time. So telling me my music's trash when I am literally making millions off my music and touring the world, how would that bring me to shoot you? That is the part that gets me. Because if Tory Lanez is that fragile and that weak of a man, this type of shit should have already happened in his life. Think about it. I know we can't judge how somebody came up or the things that they went through, but I can't imagine a man being that weak. You can't even call him a man at that point. A man being that weak and that fragile in his mind that somebody could tell him, hey, your music's weak. Your music ain't shit. And he will just go out of his way to shoot you for it. This would have been something that would have happened earlier in life. Not with this specific instance, but with somebody doing something or saying something to him that he didn't like. And him being able to take it to an extreme level and want to attempt to kill somebody for it. Why do we keep forgetting that this man was in multiple altercations before this happened? Did anybody talk about that? Has anybody ever brought that up? Did the trial bring that up? If I was his defense, it would have been tricky. It would have been a little rocky, but there would have been a point behind it. If I was on that team, I would have brought that up. I'm like, listen, I know that this is about, domestic and him being violence towards a woman, but we must bring up his other instances where he got into physical altercations. That man did not once in any of those situations brandish a gun and try to shoot any of the people that he was fighting. Anytime I've ever heard about a Tory Lanez altercation, you can look this up. This is public knowledge. It's always been fights. And with niggas involved. So you tell me that this man was so weak and so fragile as a man that he couldn't take the words coming from this woman's mouth and decided that he wanted to shoot her? Man, nonetheless, like I said, you have to pay the consequences for your actions regardless of the severity. You put yourself in this situation. I bet you now that man is sitting there wishing he did not get back in that car with them. I know that man probably wish he would have just told them right then and there at the door, hey, I fucked both of you. Now I'm trying to fuck Kylie. Get the fuck out of my face, and close the door. I so wish that man did not get bowled in the car. He should have just said it when they came back to try to pick him up. That's another thing now that I've been thinking about too, is like, Meg, it seems that in that moment, she was trying to pull the ultimate cock block on Tory. They leave the first time and she's thinking to herself, I don't want this to happen. I don't want to think about this nigga who was just schmanging on me to be hitting Kylie. I don't want that to happen. I'm going to go back and I'm going to make sure it don't happen. We not leaving until you come with us. And now this man is in the car with them. And I said this, bro. I said this months ago. I was like, yo, I feel like this nigga got in the car and was so mad that he couldn't get Kylie that he just said, you know what? I fuck both of you. Now what? You want to fuck my shit up? I'm going to fuck y'all shit up. I think that's what has been. And that's another thing. You got to pay for the consequences of your actions. He didn't know that this would spark an entire instance where his life would be dangling in his hands with up to 22 years in prison over simply disclosing information that would ruin these two best friends' lives. He had no idea, man. And now he got to deal with it. Now he has to deal with it, man. And we'll see what happens. Maybe he's going to get deported. And I just want to say a couple things before I leave. Number one, this verdict is not going to change the outcome of how people feel about the things that they feel. So the women that hate men, black men specifically, we're not going to change their mentality. Nothing's going to change with that. And the disdain that black men have for black women because of the narrative. You know, things we wish we could change with the dynamic, but to me, it's getting far gone, and the internet is really helping with that narrative. You know, women couldn't wait, specifically black women couldn't wait to get on the internet to start barking at a bunch of black men because, of course, every black man was against Meg Thee Stallion when this was going down. And to me, whether the verdict came back in favor of either side, it didn't matter. It would only increase the hate that people have for whatever demographic that they're targeting. And it's funny because they specifically were going at black men, but one of the major people that were going back speaking on this case and going against Megan was a black woman. As you see on my screen, the Instagram page right there, Milagro was giving real-time updates on this trial and in cahoots with academics the whole time, talking about each day that passed in the trial and everything that was said. She was adamantly she was against Meg Thee Stallion. And you should have seen how she was getting ate up. Also, it doesn't help the narrative that Roc Nation didn't have anything to do with what was going on, because she had proof that they were fucking with her lives and suspending her Twitter accounts, or trying to suspend her Twitter account or give her violations to where she couldn't use her Twitter account. And it got confirmed by NBC anchors and people that were inside, like bigger, higher ups, people that were contacting her from these stations and letting her know that these things were coming back down from, you know, representatives of Roc Nation, which is weird to me. You know what I'm saying? And they gave more people validation into how they feel or what they think about Roc Nation's involvement in this trial. But I'll leave that up to speculation. All we know now is that Tory Lanez has been officially convicted of all 3 counts in the shooting of Meg Thee Stallion. Kelsey Harris is somewhere getting blasted all by herself. Look, man, it's a weird situation. It's a very weird situation. Here we are. I don't wish jail, I don't wish prison on nobody. But when you do certain things, man, like I said, you have to pay the consequences for your actions. And with that said, GMS fam, the Green Room, I'm gonna need y'all to do me a favor. Hit that like button on the way out. Share this video on your socials. I know y'all got other social media platforms. You got Facebook, Twitter, whatever you got, man. Share this video on your platform. Say GMS is where it's at every week. Go ahead and do your due diligence. Shout out to my 3Gs family. I'm going to get up with y'all next week. Much appreciated. Stay your ass inside, man. It's cold, man. Also, condolences to the family of whoever it was who got shot and killed at Mall of America today. There was a shooting that locked down the Mall of America just about like an hour or 2 ago. And yeah, shit got real. Mall of America is becoming a joke because they, for some reason, continue to allow motherfuckers in there with firearms. You would have thought, with all the money that Mall of America makes a year, that they would at least have some type of detection. They have their own police department in the mall. Nigga, get some other type of protection to keep people safe and not have to worry about that bullshit. Cause the day I hear that Mall of America is shut down for good because of you ignorant niggas, oh my God, I wouldn't wait to leave this state. Jesus. But shout out to the GMS fam. Shout out to y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all have a wonderful holiday, a wonderful Xmas. Spend time with your family. Eat some good food, smoke some good weed, get a good drink in, you know what I'm saying? Do your thing, man. You deserve it. Take a load off. GMS fam, the Green Room. I'll see y'all later. Stay healthy, stay blessed. Push peace. Keep that green mind state. We out.